Hello, happy Thursday. As you can tell, I'm not in my normal place, and judging by the buildings, I'm in New York City, hence the music. I'm up here doing all the Christmas things this weekend, so I'm so excited. But I figured before I jump into all the Christmas things, I would go through how to make house hunting as easy as binge watching Netflix. And if anyone knows me, they know that I really love a good Netflix binge. Lately, it's been rewatching How to Get Away with Murder because the fall finale just blew my brain apart, and so now I'm going back trying to figure out if I missed any clues in the last 5 seasons. So that's what I'm binging right now. But when it comes to house hunting, there is a way that you can make the house hunting process similar to going on a Netflix binge. So how do you do that? I'm going to walk you through the steps. All right, so first things first. You're going to want to figure out your home style genre. Just like when you're getting on Netflix, you got to figure out, do you want to watch a romantic comedy? Do you want to watch a documentary? Do you want to watch a scary movie? So you got to really figure out what your home style genre looks like. So what do I mean by that? Well, of course you're going to say, like, you know, my family needs a 4-bed, 3-bath home. Maybe you want an acre lot, or as close to an acre as you can get, because acreage in Nashville starts to get a little tough. But you really need to figure out like what it is outside of just the numbers that you're wanting. So do you want maybe a house with a really open kitchen and a lovely dining room where you can entertain friends and family during the holidays? Or do you want a really big playroom for your children? So these are things like when it comes to house hunting, of course you're going to think in terms of like square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, but you also have to think about the kind of lifestyle and like why you're making this move. Like, what do you envision when you dream of having that dream home? Hi, Kim. Hi, Anson. Good to see you guys. So first you're going to want to really figure out what is your home style genre. And after you figure that out, then what you can do is you can start to look at, okay, well, what is really trending? Like, start to think about, if you start by making a list of all the things you want in a home. Do you want it to have character? Do you want it to have updated bedrooms? Do you want it to maybe lean more towards a farmhouse style? You've got to really start to like let your mind go wild with what it is that you dream, because that's really going to help us to narrow the home search so that you're not kind of all over the place and looking at 50 houses when maybe you really only need to look at like 5 or 10. And so you're also going to want to make sure that you pinpoint your deal breakers. Yes, a movie theater. That is actually on my list, Anson, as well as what I need to have in my home. Because again, I'm a Netflix binger and I love pinball room. Yes, I love the idea of a pinball room, which actually, fun fact, you should come to Nashville because we now have at least 2 bars that have a bunch of pinball machines in them. So come on, let's go. So after, you need to make sure that you have your must-haves, your wants, what your dreams are, and your deal breakers. Like, if you do not want to be on a busy street, then we have no business looking at homes that maybe fit your number criteria, but sits on one of the busiest streets in Nashville. Like, that's going to be a no-go, and there's no point in going and looking at it. Number 2 or number 3, that is going to be create your home list based on your preferences. And so before you get to this step, this is when you really want to bring in a real estate agent. They're going to be able to take what it is that you've written out in terms of your numbers, your goals, your dreams in your home, and they're going to be able to set you up on a customized home search. And so I know that you can be like really glued to your phone looking through Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, all the sites. Like, you can get really, it's almost like an addiction trying to scroll through all the new listings, but an agent's going to be able to set you up through their own systems on personalized searches that are going to be able to narrow down what it is exactly that you're looking for in a home, so that you're not getting hit with a ton of homes that maybe don't actually fit all of your criteria. So you're going to want to make sure that you have that customized search happening for you, because again, I remember when I bought my first home, I was so excited to go through the home buying process that I wanted to look at any and every home that matched my exact, it had to have this many bedrooms and this many bathrooms. But in reality, most of those I didn't even really need to look at. Like it's very easy to get super excited and kind of spaz out a little bit and want to see everything, but when you're trying to really narrow things down, it's easy to get overwhelmed by having so many options. So it's really good to start paring things down to kind of get your list at the end of what your top 5, which I just skipped ahead, but what your like top 5, top 10 homes to look at, because that's going to give us more quality over quantity in your home search. So after you get your preferences down, then you're going to want to preview homes. And what is a good way to preview homes? Well, there's 2. If you want to keep with the Netflix binge and you want to stay on your couch, you start looking online. So again, this is a note for sellers. Your buyers that are going to be potentially interested in your home, your photos will be their first impression. So the way your home is staged and the way that it presents in photos is going to be, it's either going to make you or break you. So that, again, that's my little soapbox moment for sellers, because I know how important it is, and you would not believe some of the things that I still see sitting out there on the MLS. It's scary. But go online, preview the homes, go through what you see that fits that criteria, and like start to pick out the ones that you absolutely want to see. So like when you're looking online, it's kind of like your first showing. Now, if you want to even take it a step further, I always recommend, especially if you're not familiar with all the areas where these homes are that you're interested in, go do a drive-by of the neighborhood. Especially go during rush hour traffic, because that will let you know whether that home indeed fits your criteria, whether you can withstand the commute, you can withstand the traffic, and if you actually like the neighborhood in both the daytime and the nighttime. Again, you don't have to do that, but I always recommend it, because again, this was something that I encountered from my own experience of buying. Was I bought in an area, and when I was buying and doing my home search, I was going out in I was going in non like rush hour traffic time. So the commute into the city seemed really easy, when in reality, when I was working, the 8 to 5, 8 to 6, the rush hour traffic got to become a real problem. So I always like to suggest, if you want to take your home search a step further, try out those commute times and see if you're willing to deal with it. And then the last part is, after you've kind of gone through and you're starting to continue to pare things down, get your list of like your top 5, your top 10. And then that way you and your agent can set up the route that we're going to go through when we do our buyer tour and take you through. And then that way, again, you're looking at homes that you know not only meet your number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, but it's also meeting that lifestyle dream that you have. Because ultimately, again, it's really easy to get caught up in quantity and wanting to see everything, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. It's a really exciting time, but you're going to want to look at quality over quantity. So that is kind of, because again, when you're doing your Netflix search, you start with your genre, you go through, you do the previews, trying to figure out which show or which episode or which movie you really want to watch, and then you start to narrow it down until you finally pick one. And that's kind of the way that we want to attack the home buying process. So I hope that this was helpful. Again, I do have a guide if you want to look more in depth that I'd be happy to send you. It's a free PDF, so if you want it, you can always shoot me a message or comment below, and I would be happy to send it to you. I hope that everyone has a wonderful weekend. I am going to go do all the New York City things, all the Christmas stuff, but I hope that everyone has a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week.